Okay, good morning. Thank you very much for coming, all of you. What we're going to talk about this morning is leadership communication. Now, when I say that, what does it mean to you?
How to be effective with your peers.
How to be effective in which way?
So that the message you're communicating, they're understanding and they're taking away what you are hoping they take away.
That is it in an essence. It's almost as if I asked you to give me that response, Chris. Thank you very much. That's exactly it. I call it performance on purpose under pressure. It's about getting what we want out of the situation, communicating in an effective manner to get what we need to get. Okay? Now, communication is an enormous subject, and part of the reason for that is that we are continually communicating. Every single one of you. I love the way you just moved your body language. I don't want to communicate that. I'm not sure what that. Yeah, I'm going to go defensive. I don't believe it.
You're watching.
Eyes in the side of my head, don't you worry. But it's a serious point that I think a lot of people often forget, or are so distracted by what is going on in the modern world, are unable to recognise. You are constantly communicating and sending messages to everyone around you, anyone who sees you. And don't forget, the person who sees you most is yourself. So you're sending messages to yourself with everything you do, with the way you go about things. Now look, the mistake that people make is the first thing they think about with communication is it's what I'm saying that's important. It's about content. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to burst a bubble. It's not. Depending on which study you believe, what you choose to believe, how you believe things, 75 to 95% of communication is about how we say what we're saying. I could have the sexiest subject in the world, and if I'm talking about it like this and I'm reading it from down here and I'm just taking it into a complete monotone and I'm slumped over the black and like this and I'm looking out the window or checking my watch or something along those lines, how many of you are already wondering if you left the gas on at home? And if you can get back there quickly and stick your head in the oven, because this is so boring. But the subject is so sexy. Okay, so it's not about what we say, it's about how we say something. We're going to work with one element of that, so it's clearly about the body as well. Over the next few minutes or so, we're going to look at the voice. And we're going to look at 3 areas of vocal variety. Because engaging someone, in order to engage someone and to be effective, we clearly have to engage them. Then we need to be interesting. And that monotone that I just described is not. So we're just going to look at 3 areas of voice. We're going to look at pitch, power, and pace. Now when I say pitch, what does it mean to you?
The tone of voice that you're using?
Yeah, sort of. Sort of. Anyone else?
Whether you're using a high voice or a low voice.
Yeah, between the two of you, sort of know it's the range that we use. So we can use our upper register, or we can come down to our lower register, or we can just stay in the middle. But that variety is important to make our message more interesting. If I was talking in a monotone, no matter how useful everything else is here, I'm going to be less engaging. And we all are in that way. What about power? What does that mean?
Your volume.
It's not volume. Volume is a part of everything, but power is something slightly different to volume, Chris. What might it be?
Is it the emotion behind it?
That's getting closer now. It's about the intensity. It's about the meaning that we imbue into something, how important stuff is. I haven't really raised my voice there. It's not shouting. A lot of people who think power is about shouting to the back of the room. It's not. It's about intensity and power. Does that make sense? Does everything make sense so far?
You're also incorporating your facial expressions into it, so is that part of it?
Absolutely. We could go on for days. The workshops on these subjects can take days. There's all sorts of different things that I'm doing intentionally to ensure that I do everything I possibly can to keep your attention. We're only looking at the voice, but we can talk in debrief about the other things that you do once you've got up and done some. Okay, and the other one was pace. What about pacing? What does that mean?
The speed.
Speed.
It's the speed.
Yeah.
How many people speed up when you're in front of people, when you're standing up? Do you speed up? Do you gabble a little bit? You go, oh my God, because you're nervous and you're allowing those nerves to come out. That's unintentional communication. Yeah? Well, a lot of people do that. One of the mistakes people make in trying to slow down is to put a space after each word. Are you asleep yet? No, but you will be very soon. If we're trying to slow ourselves down, the place to make a break, to put a pause, is after each thought. Why might that be?
Because you want them to reflect on the thought, not the word.
Absolutely. We want them to be able to digest what we've just said. Equally, we want to be able to breathe, because breath is the foundation of the voice. It is also the most calming mechanism that you have available to you. It also allows you a break to remember what the heck it was you were going to say next. Okay, that's enough about me. Would you please all stand up onto your feet and get into pairs? I know there are 5 of you, it's really awkward. Who wants to be stuck with me? Dreadful.
I'll do it.
Come on, Mark, you come over here. Now stand in pairs.
Mark volunteered. Good.
Okay, what I want you to do, what I want you to do is to work out, one of you is A, one of you is B. Would you like to be A or B?
A's fine.
A. In a pair.
Oh, yes, that would.
A and B facing each other. Facing each other. Now you're going to have an animated, emotional conversation with each other. Okay? There's a rule though. A's, you can only say yes. And B's, you can only say no. So use everything, use your pitch, your power, your pace, and anything else you wish, and we'll talk about it in a second. We're just going to go for 30 seconds. Are you ready? Excellent.
Okay.
Are you A or B?
A, yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I
No.
have. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
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 Yes.
No.
No.
Please. No. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just stop there for a second. Just turn in. All right. I know it's exciting. Just turn in a bit. What do we feel? How did we feel? What do we think about that? Did we learn anything?
I thought I was with my kids again.
Why-
But I was saying yes. No,
Ah,
no.
you were saying yes instead of no. That's unusual. Anything?
We fed off each other
Mm-hmm.
Why was that?
because through their expression, their tone, their everything we talked about, it expressed kind of what their meaning was
And
behind
what-
their yes or no.
And what were you?
I was the no and she was the yes, so
Yeah.
she was trying to make me change my mind.
So what were you doing? Where was your focus?
My focus was on your eyes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your focus was on the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's what we need to do in everything, in all our relationships. It's about the other person. When we're giving a presentation, when we're working with a client, when we're working with somebody who's come into the hospital, we need to understand their needs in order to help them. How many of you were looking into each other's eyes?
Yeah, we were.
How often do you do that in a normal relationship? You're good at it. No, well, Trace, not quite so good. Hey, I love the fact that people are good at this sort of thing. Why do we need to look in people's eyes?
Read
It's
some
engagement.
emotion.
Mm-hmm.
How much more information do you get from somebody when you can actually look at them? And people can be scared to be seen for the first time. So it's important that we understand the relationship that we have there. Okay, we're going to do a little debrief after the next, so we're going to take this up a notch. Okay, is everybody really happy to take this up a notch? Okay, A's, now all you can say is please give it to me. And B's, all you can say is no, I don't want to. Are you ready?
Whoa.
Go!
Please give it to me.
No, I don't want
No, I
to.
don't want to.
Please give it
No,
to
I
me.
don't.
No, I don't want to.
Please
No, I
give
don't
it
want
to
to.
me.
No, I don't
No,
want to.
I don't want to.
No, I
Please
don't want
give
to.
it to me.
No, I don't want to.
Please give it to me.
No.
No, I don't want
Please
No,
give it to me.
no, I don't want to.
Please give it to me.
Okay. All right, we could go on for so much fun, isn't it? We could go on for hours.
Oh, I make her want to. No. She's too pleading. Please. give it to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did we notice there, Tracy? What was it?
It was her body language and the way she was looking at me, and she just looked like she was, yeah, she was begging almost.
And she was persuading
yes,
you.
She was.
So this goes back to that Facebook idea, that Facebook meme, I think it is, or something, which is, no, it's not what you say to people, it's how you make them feel. You have somehow, Carol, was making Tracy feel. Because what were you doing, Carol? Do you know?
My animation puppy dog eyes.
Well, you were using everything at your means, weren't you?
Yes.
Using your hands. I noticed I was gesturing automatically. Mark was gesturing at times, and not at others when he chose to emphasise what he wanted to do. Did you find yourselves using your bodies?
I was trying not to.
And why was that?
Because I was trying to focus on my words, how I was, like,
Okay.
like the expression through my voice.
Absolutely, that's fine. When we move on and we're talking about performing holistically or presenting holistically, then we should let our gesticulations just
I mean, I
flow
wanted
naturally.
to. I was
But your
holding
hands
my
are in the perfect place.
Yeah, I was holding them.
You've all been coached already, haven't you? Because all of you are holding your hands in, well, apart from Mark, who's just an iconoclast. You're all holding your hands in that perfect place. So, okay, that's a very little snapshot of using of vocal usage or variety in how we can communicate. How can we take this back to business? How can you take this back out into your workplace?
It's just a better understanding, looking at people. I'm still going to watch their body language and their movements.
But also knowing that you can change meaning and intensity just by changing your voice and how you present your message.
That is absolutely key, because that speaks to intentionality. That speaks to walking into a relationship, understanding what it is you want to get out of it, and knowing what you need to do to get out of it. It was you who put the focus on the other person. You spoke about that as well, Kate. Having that focus on the other person, and then understanding what they need from you, so important. And I imagine, vitally important in the hospital atmosphere that we have in here. I don't know how many of you are dealing directly with patients, but understanding how you are received, how the messages you are put across are being received by somebody in the various different places they are when they come in, must be hugely important.
So should we be changing our tone and our voice and our speed and seeing how they react and use that to our advantage to get through to people?
Absolutely. See what lands. In the first instance, we need to understand ourselves and what we're good at. So you need to know whether or not I've done this for so long now that I don't need to think about vocal intonation changing. I tend to automatically do that. Work out what it is that you do automatically, and then add other things in and see how they land. As long as your intention is to help the other person. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop the video there.